Hey guys, welcome back to the Ultra Squad, and today this is actually part 3 of what issei actually married the goddess. I hope you guys actually enjoy. The last part we actually left off was pretty much actually issei trying to save Alcia from the fallen angels after church. But ended up he couldn't actually save her. She ended up dying while pretty much issei actually got Alcia's sacred gear. And pretty much that was the last part we left off, so let's actually begin. It's been about 2 weeks. 2 weeks actually passes the event at the church. Issei has actually nearly gotten over the death of actually Alcia, as he actually just continued his training. Heck, he also even started training actually his new sacred gear, Twilight Healing. Issei realized that Twilight Healing is really powerful. Heck, the first time he used it, it healed him up straight away. Then after that, when Issei boosted himself and also transferred the power to Twilight Healing, it healed him actually just completely. Just it's OP, like good as new, no injury, no nothing. As he kept on trading it, as it was actually really much of a useful sacred gear. As pretty much, we actually go in school, as issei was just basically just in his classroom with actually Gina. The two of them were just eating lunch until actually the door will actually slide open, as it was actually revealed to be actually pretty much no other than actually Kiba Yuto. He actually came in and asking actually for issei to come to the ORC. Gina was actually just now getting annoyed. What are they doing? What do they actually want with actually her issei? Issei will actually get up and he will actually ask Kiba what does actually the president want now. As pretty much Kiba couldn't actually say anything, he just told Issei to follow him. Issei would sigh, he would actually just follow Kiba. But also Gina would just follow too. Kiba said that she doesn't need to come, but she actually insisted. I'm not actually gonna let actually Issei go with you. You could probably actually set a trap for actually him, to probably actually reincarnate him, something like that. I actually despise you people. Issei will actually put his hand on actually Gina's shoulder, telling her ready to calm down, and actually they won't actually do such a thing. Kiba will nod his head, and he will actually just make their way all the way to the ORC. Once they actually got there, Kiba immediately closed the door behind them, as there Issei was actually seeing Rias and actually Paraj. Issei, it's good to see you. As she was looking at Gina, that was actually behind Issei. I actually requested just for Issei. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, you don't actually want to talk to me? I'm sorry, but I actually don't actually trust actually devils like you with my issei. My issei? Issei was kind of sweat to drop after just hearing that. Reyes was actually now just getting annoyed, as she actually just brushes actually off. Anyway, Issei, I'd like to actually talk to you. I would like for you to join my Paraj. Gina now actually was actually ready in her sacred gear, ready to strike Reyes down. But actually Issei actually just stopped her. Reyes, I already told you, I'm not interested in joining your Paraj. Reyes actually begged Issei to join her Paraj. Please Issei, I need you to join my Paraj. As Issei can actually see the desperate look in her eyes. Why do you want me so badly in your Paraj? I have no interest actually in devil business. As pretty much, Akno is explained to Issei about Reyes' engagement. About Raiza, how he actually came here into actually the club room, and Reyes actually challenged him to a raid game, as Raiza actually basically won about 20 and lost 3, and Reyes never been in 1. Issei just sighed. Are you serious? You made a raiding game with someone who actually has more experience than you? Why would you actually do that? Why? Oh my god. Reyes actually kind of begged Issei to please join her Paraj, and she just want to get married to Raiza. Her life would be ruined. Gina was just basically laughing. I never knew actually Lucifer's sister was actually this desperate. Why can you not ask your brother? I can't. He's not allowed to just interfere. Issei would sigh as he would actually say something that will shock Reyes. Sorry Reyes, I actually don't want to join your Paraj. Reyes was actually now sad. Her life was over. But next thing what Issei said actually did actually put actually hope in her. But actually can I actually help you train? What? Really? Reyes actually eyes wide and looking at Issei. Yeah, I mean, heck, it's the least I can actually do. Reyes will thank Issei, and Gina was actually protesting, saying that we actually don't need to help them. but Issei said that he actually just wanted to actually help her. So pretty much Reyes actually told Issei that they pretty much had 10 days to train. And also she actually explained to Issei that they had to meet at the mountain where pretty much her actually family owns it. Issei would nod his head, and he would actually go and leave the clubroom preparing for tomorrow. As once he actually got home, he was actually met with actually Miss Hasagawa. There she was just pretty much cooking, as she was actually asking Issei about his day. Issei said it was good, and also he explained to her that he's actually going to be leaving for a few days to actually help Reyes and the ORC training for the little raiding game. Miss Hasagawa was looking at Issei up and down, but she actually disagreed. Just actually be careful, right? Issei will actually nod his head, and we'll fast forward all the way to the next day. There we'll actually see the whole ORC there at the bottom of the mountain waiting for Issei. Once Issei actually came, he was actually able to happen to see him. But they were surprised to see Gina there too. Huh? I didn't know you were coming along, Reyes would say, referring to Gina. I actually follow Issei wherever he goes. You got a problem with that? No, not at all. She would say, actually just twitching her eyes were basically twitching knowing that Gina was here. This will actually ruin her plans to get close to Issei. Issei actually decided that pretty much it was actually time for their training. As there, a red magic circle would be placed on the whole ORC. Immediately, they actually all felt a heavy weight. What's going on? My body feels heavy, just Konako would say. I put actually a gravity magic seals on you. This is actually what me and the hero faction basically do. We do gravity training. So pretty much, your task is to pretty much climb up on top of the mountain. What? Are you serious? That's actually impossible. You won't be actually able to reach there. As pretty much, Gina will actually just be scoffing. Oh really? You can't actually handle simple trading? Let me guess, you just have your servant to do all your things for you. How pathetic. Pretty much, Reyes was actually just glaring at her, which Issei actually told her Gina to stop. There, Reyes and her group just proceeded to climb on top of the mountain. It nearly actually took them the whole day just to actually get on top of there. Once they actually about 6 hours would pass, they finally reached on top of the mountain. They were actually huffing and puffing, they were out of breath. This was actually just insane. They were sweating, they were actually just so tired. They immediately just fall towards the ground. As before, not even just a minute will actually pass, they will see right there a bunch of swords actually coming towards them. Immediately, just actually Akino would place a barrier. There, they will actually see Gina with just her sacred gear out, and she will be launching holy swords towards them. Your training is actually not done yet. She will immediately start to launch holy swords. Kiba will try to make some swords of his own using his sword buds. But pretty much the heavy weights that was placed on him made it harder for him to move. This will lead most of the group to be just wounded by the attacks. But Gina made sure not to kill them, which was an order by Issei. There, about 2 hours will pass to where the group was running away from Gina's holy swords, not getting hit by them. Immediately after 2 hours, they will just collapse. They were on the ground, they were just so tired. Gina and Issei thought that it would be better for them to put them to rest, and they will continue the training tomorrow. As that's what they did. They will put them to bed and prepare them for their training tomorrow. The next day will arrive to where Reyes and her group were standing right in front of Issei. As they were discussing on what they're going to do for their training. As Issei just wanted to test something out. He asked Kiba if he wants to spar with him. As Issei removed the magic waste that was placed on Kiba. Kiba will nod his head, and he was ready himself with a wooden stick. No, we're not using a wooden stick. We're using your sword. Use your sacred gear. Kiba was shocked, but I don't want to. Trust me, if you're up against Phoenix, you need to take this training seriously. Don't hold anything back. Kiba would nod his head as he would prepare his sacred gear out. Once he got it out, the two of them would look at each other. There, Gina would place a magical barrier around the two of them, as the OSC was just watching intensely. As they knew Issei was great, but they never know how great he was. Reyes had faith in her knight, that pretty much he would be able to defeat or even match up to Issei. There, the match will begin to where Kiba will rush towards Issei. Issei will take out Ben Hildred, and he will go deliver one slash towards Kiba. Kiba would be immediately knocked back towards the barrier. The barrier would just start shocking him. What the heck? What was that power? He would immediately just knock backwards. He would just be actually looking at Issei. Issei will have a smirk and he will appear right in front of Kiba, delivering one actually down slash where Kiba will actually dodge. Kiba will create himself for that ice actually sword, shooting it actually ice towards Issei. Issei will actually just completely destroy it with just one slash. That's all you got? Come on. Issei will actually use infinity. He will appear right behind Kiba, kicking him right there from the back, and he will be landing on the floor. Kiba will get back up, and he will actually look around where Issei was. As there, he will actually realize something. He actually felt something actually coming from above him. He will actually look up, and to his surprise, he will dodge the last second to where Issei will actually flash down with a green energy blast that will actually cut down the ground. Everybody was just looking in shock. Kiba was on the defensive. He couldn't actually land one strike on Issei. When actually Kiba actually got up, he realized that Issei was right in front of him. Issei delivered one actually a kick that actually sent Kiba up to flying towards the barrier. Kiba was immediately shocked by the barrier that he actually immediately just falls down. There, Issei actually placed Ben Hilded right in front of actually Kiba's face. This match is actually over. There, Gina will actually unrelease the barrier, and Kiba will just be looking in awe, while Issei actually just helped him up. You're strong, but your reflexes and then your timing are actually pretty much off. So pretty much I'm going to be helping you with actually your swordsmanship. I think you might be the key to pretty much actually help Riz actually win this rating game. So with this, Issei actually said to them that he will be training Kiba personally, while Gina will actually help them improve on their magic reserve and also actually does actually stamina. That's what they actually lack it in. They don't lack it actually technique or anything, but they need to improve their actually stamina and their magic reserve. That's the actually way to actually win. So that's what they did for the 9 days. Kiba and Issei will actually be training really hard. Issei actually didn't actually go easy on Kiba for one bit. He didn't show Kiba no mercy. He actually beat him up, actually proving actually his fighting style. He even gave him actually pointers of how to actually strike his enemy. Every time Kiba was actually just injured, Issei would just heal him up with Twilight Healing. Kiba and Issei actually grew a bond actually. They will actually become kind of like friends, really. To be honest, they actually really did get along. As pretty much the 9 days will actually pass and it was time for the rating game. There, Issei will actually tell all of them that to pretty much actually win and also good luck. Riz will actually thank Issei for all her actually help. She actually felt confident that she could win against Rise of Phoenix. But Issei actually told her one thing. Just because you got training from me doesn't mean you're actually all that powerful actually, Riz. You should not underestimate Rise of Phoenix for even 1 second. He's a phoenix. His regeneration is actually insane. And don't think you actually have your power of destruction makes you invincible. You actually lack actually technique too. So pretty much, once actually this thing is actually over, you still need to actually work a long way to go if you really actually want to become strong. Remember that this is actually your Parage members. So pretty much their life is in your hands. And if you're weak, you will just kill the rest of actually them. So just get that through your head, okay? Issei would say, actually just glaring at Riz. Riz actually kind of actually felt scared, but also she actually agreed. She did, as pretty much Grayfield will come and actually teleported them towards actually the raiding game field. Once actually Issei actually got back home, he immediately collapsed on the couch. The 10 days of training was basically just wore Issei out. There, just actually he will actually see something, a note on just actually the coffee table. There, Issei will pick it up and he will see it was actually a note from actually Miss Hasagawa, telling actually Issei that she will be busy for the next actually few days. That pretty much she actually has actually things to actually take care of. That there's food inside the fridge that he can actually help himself. She'll be back actually just actually at parent-teacher meeting. She's gone for this long. Well, I can't actually complain. There, for the past actually few hours, Issei was just basically just chilling at home. As he actually decided to pretty much check up on actually Gina. It's been a while since they actually hang out actually. As he actually thought that maybe they can actually hang out like the old times, or probably go on a date. There, Issei will actually call up Gina, saying that she actually wants to actually hang out. As Gina instantly just nodded, as she actually replied, saying like yes. There, we will actually see Issei already dressed up, wearing actually a black actually jacket with actually a white shirt, with actually blue jeans, and also right there just actually like blue actually shoes. Issei's hair was actually done in actually a cool way that actually let him his hair flew sideways. He had green eyes. As he was waiting for Gina at the place where actually the place Issei was meeting Reina at the first season of the anime. There, Gina will actually come and she'll be wearing just a white dress with just actually just of a red bow on her hair. She looks stunning. Issei's gonna help but blush at her. You ready? She would say. She would be grabbing Issei's arm, putting his arm in between actually her breasts. Issei actually just immediately blushed and he's like, yeah, sure. The two of them will actually spend the whole day actually hanging out and pretty much actually just chilling. They will actually get to actually catch up more on what they actually missed out. Gina said that she was actually just taking a break from the hero faction just to live her normal life. She never expected Issei to be in town. As Issei actually did actually agree. The same thing was actually with her. As once they were actually finished up with that date, they immediately Issei will actually take Gina all the way to his place. There, once they actually got nearly close to Issei's house, you will see two unfamiliar people. They were wearing hoodies. There, Issei and Gina felt holy energy coming from them, and instantly they knew that they were from the church. So Issei actually confronted them. Excuse me, who are you? Issei said, and he was actually ready at his sacred gear, and also been healed for actually probably a fight. The two figures would turn around and they will actually see Issei and actually Gina. Oh, I'm sorry, is this actually the hero's residence? Yes, it is. What are you doing in front of my house? Are you exorcists? Wow, I actually never expected you to actually know that we are exorcists. Who are you? As Issei would say, my name is Issei Hyodo. Ah, Issei? Is that really you? That's one of the cloak figures would say. Immediately, she will actually just remove her hoodie, and Issei's eyes will widen. Wait, Irina? Holy hell, it's been a while. Issei was actually now left his defense down, knowing it was actually Irina. As Irina will actually go and give Issei a hug, which will actually shock Gina, asking who is she. Issei will say that this is actually her her second childhood best friend after he left the hero faction, Irina. Irina introduced herself as Irina actually Shido, that she's one of Issei's friend, childhood best friend. And actually Gina was actually just looking at Issei with just jealousy. She was supposed to be her childhood best friend. Issei actually felt an evil aura behind them. He decided to actually let them two in. As once they actually got in, they actually explained the whole reason why they're actually here in this town. That pretty much a fallen angel named Kokobil just stole fragments of the holy swords from the church, from this fragment Excalibur. So yeah, Issei actually was thinking about this, and he was actually thinking, does it actually have to do with the fallen angels that was in this town that he dispatched those? As pretty much nowhere actually gave the person name, the person stole it was actually Fred. That he was actually just of a white hair a priestess who went rogue, and he was actually crazy who wielded a holy blade and a pistol. Issei realized and knew the guy. He was the guy that he actually basically dealt with at the church. He didn't kill him, he actually got away. Oh god. I guess you need some help actually? If this actually really is a big problem, then no, we don't actually need your help. To be honest, tomorrow we're actually gonna look for the people who actually runs this hometown. Actually, I kinda do run this hometown I've been keeping it safe, but from what the profile says, that it actually belongs to the Grimmery and the Sea Tree. So pretty much if you want, you can talk to them, but you're gonna have to wait for about a few days. You are doing a raiding game. So you actually have a connection towards the devils, nowhere would say, right now a sword out. I mean, I'm not really allies with them, but I do help them out from time to time. So yeah, as pretty much Zenobia was just now has a god up. She was thinking Issei was probably one of them, probably in disguise actually. As they will spend the next few days just helping Zenobia and Irina out. Irina was realized that Gina was Issei's first childhood best friend, as the two of them kind of grew a rivalry together. As pretty much we will time skip all the way towards just the OIC. It's been about like what 3 days. As Grace actually basically won her actually rating game actually. They were just basically so happy. With actually the help of issei boosting herself up, it was actually just amazing. She was actually at her actually club room as she was actually wanted to actually thank issei, and she was about to actually tell Konako to bring issei to the club room. But immediately there was actually a knock on the door. As Reyes would actually say to the person to come in, as there to her surprise, it was actually none other than actually issei. Ah, you came, issei. I was actually just about to call for you. We actually won our actually rating game. This actually Akano would say. Issei would smile. Well, that was actually good. I actually knew you two were actually gonna win. But I actually came here for business. As she was able to see that Issei had a serious face on. What business is that? Just actually moments before, just two exorcists will actually enter the club room. As they couldn't actually feel the holy energy that was actually coming off of them. Immediately everybody was actually just getting ready for a fight. But Issei raised his aura, making them actually all paralyzed. Calm down, they're not here to fight. They're here actually to talk to you, Reyes. They already talked to Sona, so they actually just want to talk to you about something really actually important. As the whole conversation will happen normally inside the canon, to where actually basically Kokubil like stole the holy sword frag that he's inside this town and telling them not to interfere, things like that, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Everything actually plays out similar. There, seeing that Arcia is not here, Zenovia just had to get a chance to actually confront Arcia and like anything like that. But instead it was actually Kiba. He actually told actually the two exorcists that he wants to fight them. To pretty much actually that he was going to destroy actually the holy swords that they actually had. Of course, Zenovia actually accepted the challenge, but also Irina, as Issei was he actually realized something, that Kiba has a hatred for actually the holy swords Excalibur. He actually, during the time that him and Kiba spent together, Issei actually realized that Kiba was part of the Holy Sword project. And actually his family and friends actually died by actually trying to actually make those holy swords actually, just to like make it stronger, like the suitable host for it. So he hated actually the Excalibur actually Holy Sword project ever since. And he only hated like the people who actually had holy swords, or probably Excalibur, yeah. So they will actually make their way outside. They didn't bother to place a barrier up, saying that there was actually no one actually looking, of course. So the Ebony was actually there ready, as Kiba was actually in his actually new fighting stance that actually Issei actually taught him. There immediately, Issei would actually go flip a coin inside the air. Immediately he would just send actually one beam actually towards it, destroying it. Begin, Issei would actually say. This Kiba will rush towards the two exorcists, as the two of them will actually start charging towards Kiba. It was actually 2-on-1, as pretty much Reyes actually kind of feeling worried for actually a knight, Kiba, as she knew Kiba was actually strong during the training that he actually got, but she doesn't know how strong these two exorcists really are, and they do have holy swords, which is a big weakness for actually the devils. As we actually go into the fight, Kiba will immediately create actually two demonic blades, and he will actually launch it actually towards actually just Zenovia and Irina. The two of them will actually dodge it, while Zenovia will take out her Excalibur Destroyer, and she will actually go and strike Kiba. Kiba will dodge and moving away. The ground will immediately break after Zenovia actually hits her sword on the ground. You're good, I can actually give you that. Kiba will actually go create himself right there like a fire and actually an ice blade swords. He will actually with fast speed will actually be beside actually Zenovia. He will actually go deliver right there like a right actually flash. Zenovia will block it with actually just her sword. Irina will be behind actually Kiba, ready actually her Excalibur mimic. I think that was actually what it's actually called. She tried to actually slash Kiba from behind, but Kiba actually created actually just like a blade, just actually on just inside his mouth. He was actually the Zoro style now. He was actually just triple dual blade in here. He was just having an epic battle of actually dual blades. Zenovia and Irina was surprised by actually Kiba's skill. He was actually really good with a sword. And only just 10 days of training actually, that's what actually did to Kiba. There, as pretty much Kiba decided to pretty much end it, he was actually going to use his actually ultimate technique. There, he will actually just actually make himself an ice blade sword. he was slammed towards the ground, immediately freezing actually the exorcist that was there. As pretty much Nova was about to break it, but it was already too late. Kiba shout out, sword birth! He immediately actually just used the sword birth, and he actually just immediately impaled every actually Irina and actually Zenobia. Irina and Zenobia were actually badly damaged, but they were not just out of the fight just yet. As before they could even actually ended, the fight would immediately just stopped. Issei will actually take out Ben-Hilded, sending her their green energy actually blast in between them, making them stop. This fight is actually over. I don't want actually you two actually killing actually each other. I will just leave it just as a draw, but pretty much Kiba actually basically won that fight. He got you two there. Your clothes are ripped, you're actually basically injured. If you can see on Kiba, he's barely even injured. You two are actually basically skilled actually swordsmen, I can give you that. But with the training that I gave Kiba, it actually puts him a little bit actually above you. So if you actually had a little bit more training, you'd probably be actually surpass Kiba one day. Of course, they actually just decided to end the match. As Zenova and Irina did give Kiba the win, which Zenova actually did hate it, but she gotta admit that Kiba's swordsmanship was actually incredible. So pretty much, Kiba actually just wanted actually the fight to continue, but Issei said that it was actually enough. Kiba will walk away, leaving the place, and this is actually where we're going to be ending part 3 of What If Issei Married a Goddess. Hope you guys actually enjoyed this. If you guys want part actually 4, comment down below, and I'll be making a part 4. Peace.